tree. Like words like, show yourself. Ubaydullah is looking, what's going on? What is this guy saying? Until he says, did my cousin lose his mind from the sickness? He gets up and he leaves. Abdullah looks, Muslim comes out of the closet. He says, why did you not kill this man? I gave you sign after sign. Right now, he's right here in front of you. You know who this man is. If you kill him, everything goes. You will be given time. What did Muslim say? He says, Al-mu'min la yakhdur. The mu'min never betrays, even the enemy. He had loyalty, not to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, no. Because Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad is no one for me to be loyal to. But he had loyalty to the humanity of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. To humanity itself, he had loyalty. He had respect for his own values. And his own values said, never betray another human being ever. And so our Imams alayhimus salam said, it is one of the signs of the mu'min. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi. We answered the question. We answered the question, what is loyalty? Now we want to answer the second question. Who are we to be loyal to or towards? When it comes to this question, you can have an entire lecture just on this. Because the individuals or the people that we have to be loyal towards stem from our own selves to people, to Allah. So there are many different entities in a sense that we have to be loyal towards. But tonight we're going to pick a few. We're going to pick two actually, because they're going to be the most important ones. The first one, obviously, the people. Other believers, my brothers and sisters. That is exacted and made possible in a few different manners. We're going to pick a few examples. The most important examples. Because they are the examples that we can connect with on a practical level. The first is being loyal to the human beings, to the believers, when it comes to the trusts that they give us to keep for them. The trusts. I come to Fulan, Ali, and I give him money. Or I give Zainab money and I say, keep this for me. That trust is to be protected by Zainab or Ali or whoever, by any means possible. And loyalty at that point comes forward and says, not to betray, not to use that money in any fashion whatsoever, even if it means me going hungry, while that money or that trust stays. And that is one of the qualities, my brothers and sisters, that began the da'wah itself. That was an introductory characteristic that began the message itself, the message of Islam, was based on this type of loyalty. Where the Prophet ﷺ's integrity sprouted from this characteristic. They used to call him Al-Ahsan, Sadiq al-Amin, the truthful and the trustworthy. In other words, the loyal. The loyal. And if it wasn't for these two qualities, the people would never have listened to the Prophet ﷺ from the very beginning. Because the the very character of the Prophet would have been in jeopardy in the eyes of the people. His integrity, my brothers and sisters, was the beginning of the da'wah. Was the beginning of how the message was spread to the people. His very integrity, my brothers and sisters. That's why Imam al-Sajjad alayhi salam says these words, and listen to these words. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who have partnerships, those who have money that belong to others, those who have money that other people have a hand in, listen to this. Imam al-Sajjad after Ashura, he says, and these words should be written in gold. He says, if the killer of my father came to me with the sword that he killed my father with, and he entrusted it with me and I accepted that trust, I would not betray him. And I would give him that sword back. The very sword that Abu Abdullah Hussein was killed with. You know what he's saying? He's saying, if Shibr ibn al-Jawshan came to me, sat me down and said, here's the sword that I killed your father with, put it with you, I'm going to come back in a week and take it from you. And that sword was still dirty from the sands, and still was purified by the blood of Abu Abdullah Hussein. And the Imam took it. After a week, he was going to give it back. For his love. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That's another example of the loyalty. The loyalty to the humanity of the individual, although he's the enemy. That's number one. The second one, my brothers and sisters, the second example of loyalty towards the people that we need to really focus on is the loyalty of the husband to his wife and vice versa. Now, am I talking about cheating? No, because none of us here are even at that, remotely at that level. But there's another type of betrayal that happens, and it's especially on this side of the room, like myself included. The man would be walking in the streets, a married man, walking in the streets, and a woman walks beside him and he turns. That, my brothers and sisters, is the biggest example of betrayal in this modern era. The biggest, one of the biggest. Because this human being, this man, when he told the woman, I want to be your husband, he said to her, I'm going to be loyal to you. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded me to be loyal to you with. And that is with my body, with my eyes, with my ears, with my hands, with my feet, with everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me. Naam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me freedom, yes, through halal, but has not given me freedom in looking at another woman lustfully. It is said that Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam said to his followers, Imam al-Sadiq narrates, he says, when the man looks at another woman lustfully, in the heart of that man, the seed of desire is planted. And once that seed is planted, that itself is enough of a trial on that human being. Why? Because the seed, my brothers and sisters, the seed is left to grow every single time that person looks. And that seed will grow and grow and grow until the man is unable to be satisfied with what he has. And that is the gem that is sitting on the other side of this room. The gem. He's unable to see the gem for what it truly is. And the way that this man saw his wife before he married her, he's unable to see that anymore. He's unable to see that anymore. What was once a gem in his eye is not a gem anymore. Not because she's not a gem. Not because she's not a gem anymore, but because I've blinded my heart to the reality. And that's why Amir al-Mu'mineen says, طُوبَى لِمَنْ كَانَ بَصَرُهُ فِي قَلْبِهِ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ بَصَرُهُ فِي عَيْنِهِ. Heaven is for the one who keeps his sight in his heart, not in his eyes. As in, heaven is for the one who was able to have insight and not let his eyes roam. For the eye is the gateway towards the sin, my brothers and sisters. And that's how it begins. Sallallahu alaihi wa Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And that's why when the daughter of Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam when she comes and speaks to her father about Musa, she says to him, إِنَّ خَيْرَ مَنِ اسْتَأْجَرْتَ الْقَوِيِّ الْأَمِينَ. She says to him, speaking about Musa, the one that is good, or the best person to keep as a worker, as a servant, is the one who's strong and the one who's trustworthy. Some of you might know the story, some of you may not. So we're going to quickly narrate it. What happened? It is said Nabi Musa alayhi salam flees from Misr, Egypt, and makes his way towards Madian. Enters Madian and he sees the people crowding around the well with their sheep, with their livestock. They're trying to get water for their animals. Nabi Musa alayhi salam looks at them and he sees in the distance on the side two women with their cattle, with their sheep. But they're on the side, away from everyone. And so he goes to them and he says, what are you guys doing? Why are you not with the crowd? They say, we are the daughters of an old man. And there are so many people and so many livestock, so many men around this well. We're waiting for them to go. So we will go and use the water. We don't want to mix with them. And so the Prophet ﷺ takes the cattle or the buckets, goes to the well, gets water, and goes back, gives it to them. Doesn't say anything to them, give me some money, whatever it is, nothing like that, nothing along the lines of that, except a good word. Goes and sits inside the shadows of the mountains or of the trees, sits inside the shade. The women, they're surprised. Because no man that comes into a city, knows nobody, will get up and serve somebody without asking for some sort of retribution because they are in need. Nabi Musa, it's not like he came with a whole caravan of people. He came by himself. No man would go out of his way, in the sun, work, do something like that, and not ask for some sort of money, retribution in any manner, reward. He goes and sits in the shade. They go to their father, tell him of the story. And one of the daughters comes and says to her father, why don't you make this man a servant? Make him a servant with you. Make him somebody that works in your field and serves you because he showed his loyalty. Nabi Shu'aib alayhi salam says yes. So one of the women come back to Nabi Musa. Here's where I want to speak. Here's where we want to focus. Comes back to Nabi Musa and says, my father wants to speak to you. And so Nabi Musa alayhi salam gets up and she leads the way. He walks behind her until the wind starts to blow. Nabi Musa alayhi salam tells her, stop. Please walk behind me and throw a stone in the direction that you want me to go. The men understand what I'm saying. Throw in the direction you want me to go until they get to the father, Nabi Shu'aib. And Nabi Shu'aib says, I will marry you to my daughter that you serve me for this amount of years. Whatever the years are, go to the riwayat. That is the mahar. That is the dowry. Or that is the condition, if not the dowry, the condition. That you serve me for these amount of years. What were the two characteristics that the daughter of Shu'aib was looking for? What were they? Qawi, strong. Amin, trustworthy, loyal. And she did not just notice that from when he gave the water, she noticed that when he was walking behind her and told her to stop. Because he already proved who he was. He already proved who he was. This was more of an example. That I'm not only loyal to you as a human being, rather I'm loyal to your very femininity. The fact that you're a female, the fact that you are one of the most beautiful creations God has ever put on this earth, encompassed in a woman, in the woman, in womanhood. I not only respect you for the human being that you are, and serving you, Rather, I respect the womanhood that you possess. And that's why he was Al-Qawi Al-Amin. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa alihi Muhammad. I think that drives the point home as much as I can possibly drive it. But the last one, my brothers and sisters, is the biggest one. This one here, my brothers and sisters. The last one that we're going to talk about is the biggest one out of all of them. Why is it the biggest one out of all of them? Is it the most important? Not necessarily the most important. But truly, by not abiding by this form of loyalty, communities in their entirety fall. And communities in their entirety have fallen. Rather, it's the biggest cancer in every single community on earth. And I say this openly. It is the single most biggest disease in every single community, and that is the loyalty of the tongue. The loyalty of the tongue. The tongue, the Amir al-Mu'mineen said, is one of the lightest parts in the human body, the smallest muscle, but has the ability to cause the most amounts of destruction. The tool that a human being can cause revolutions with, but the tool that can cause the biggest wars human beings have ever witnessed. The tongue. Loyalty of the tongue. What is that disease that I was referring to? Ghiba, 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 ghiba. Backbiting. Backbiting, backbiting. One of the biggest diseases our ummah is afflicted with. Wallahi al-azim. One of the biggest. Not just because so many people do it, but because so many people do not understand what it is that ghiba is. They don't understand what ghiba truly is. Where they'll go to a hadith and see ghiba is worse than zina, but they don't understand what ghiba is. We have not understood what ghiba is. Ghiba, my brothers and sisters, that grave sin that our prophets, all of them spoke against, is when, and please listen closely, I beg you. Ghiba is when I see a fault in someone else, a real fault. I know of something that somebody has done, something that happened inside the home of someone. It actually happened. It's a real characteristic that they have. And instead of me keeping that secret to myself, I go and tell it to someone else. That is what ghiba is. Brothers and sisters, ghiba is the truth. Ghiba is not a lie. Why am I stressing on this? Because when we hear people doing ghiba, we tell them, Habibi, that's ghiba. They say, but this person actually has this problem. Umri Habibi, ghiba is the truth. I'm so passionate about this because I've seen it so much and so many people have said it to me. Or said it to brothers that have told them not to do ghiba. Ghiba is the truth. Ghiba is the reality. Ghiba is not a lie. The excuse that this person actually has this problem is proving that it's ghiba. That's the meaning of ghiba. My brother got a divorce. He doesn't want anyone to know. So I go and I speak to everyone in the community. Wallah, Ali got a divorce. Am I lying? No. It's the reality. Ali got a divorce. That is ghiba. That is ashad min az-zina. That is worse than adultery, the Prophet says. Worse than adultery. We are sitting, I'm going to be honest, we're sitting in a group of people. Oh, did you hear what Zainab went through? Did you hear what Zainab did on Friday night? Did you hear what Ali bought for his wife and she didn't like it? Did you hear that Ali got married to another woman? That's ghiba. Although it's true, it's ghiba. Whether we agree with it or not, we hate it or not, we like it or not, it's ghiba. That's reality. If it was not true, it would be buhtan. Buhtan is spreading rumors. Rumors are not true. Buhtan is spreading false lies about people. It's something totally different than ghiba. So then you ask a question. Why is there so much stress? And you're going to hear some of the hadiths about ghiba. Why is there so much stress about ghiba and not about buhtan? Come to that hadith. Ghiba, 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 ghiba. What about buhtan? Because buhtan, everyone understands that it's a lie. Talk about lying and you talk about buhtan. It's something that's a given. Talk about ghiba, talk about buhtan, talk about lying. You already spoke about buhtan. But everyone thinks, my brothers and sisters, that the truth and saying the truth or saying what's true is always okay. No. Saying the truth, my brothers and sisters, in the right moment is okay. But not saying what is actually true is always okay. Because what is true might not be any of my business. These are fundamentals that we learned when we were 5, 6, or 7. And the problem is that we still fall into them. It's not my business. Who cares? Even if it's my daughter, even if it's my sister, it's not my business. Even. Let me leave it. Because the ahadith that speak about ghiba are so intense. So intense. Listen to these ahadith. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Listen to these ahadith. Don't worry, this is not all ahadith. I'm not going to sit here and list off ahadith for you. There's only 3 on here. Hold on. Listen to these hadiths. It is said the Prophet ﷺ addressed the people. He got up on the pulpit and he addressed the people. Look how aggressive the Prophet was. This is who? This is the mercy of God speaking. This is the mercy of God, the embodiment of the mercy. Look what he said. He said, يَا مَعْشَرَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِلِسَانِهِ وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِقَلْبِهِ. O people who have believed with their tongues and did not believe with their hearts. Look how aggressive that is. يَا مَعْشَرَ مَنْ آمَنَ بِلِسَانِهِ وَلَمْ يُؤْمِنْ بِقَلْبِهِ لَا تَغْتَابُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Look what he said. لَا تَغْتَابُ who? Do not do ghiba against who? Al-Muslimin. It's as if, you get the idea, that the Prophet's almost saying, hey yo, you who do ghiba, don't do ghiba against the Muslims. It's as if he separated the two, didn't he? It's as if he was separating between the two and saying, you want to do ghiba, I want to do ghiba, fine. But make sure we understand that there's a separation between me and the true Muslim. The true Muslim. Not saying that the person who does ghiba is a kafir, not saying that. But when it comes to the value of that person in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,